Hello, everyone. My name is William Grosset, and I'm an instructor at Mathnasium for Hamilton Mountain. Today, we're going to be talking about long division and the steps involved in doing so. Before I begin going over those steps, I want to take some time to go over the key concepts behind what we're doing when we actually do long division. So, to begin, if I gave you a problem like 300 divided by 3, what does this mean? Well, it means that I want to know if I'm trying to split 300 objects into 3 equal groups, how many will be in each group? So if we're starting from the very beginning of division, the simplest way we can approach this is by thinking of taking away 3 at a time and putting 1 in each group. So if I have group 1, group 2, and group 3, I can think about 300, subtract 3, and I'll take 1 from each of those 3 is going to go into each of these groups here. So I'm going to write that as 1, 1, 1, and then we're at 297 then. We have 297 left that we have to divide into 3 groups. And so I can do the same thing again, 297 minus 3, and I put another 1 in each of these groups. And that takes us down to 294 that we have to split into 3 groups. And so we can go on all the way down to 0, taking away 3 and adding 1 to each group. And we're going to eventually get 100 as our total here. So 300 divided by 3 is 100. So now we want to start extending this to some other problems. So now let's consider a problem like 400 divided by 3. So if I were to use that process of counting up by 3 or taking away 3 at a time and putting 1 in each group, that's going to take me a very long time to solve this problem. It's not very efficient, but I can use what I already know to my advantage. I know that 3 goes into 300 100 times, so I know that 3 will go into 400 at least 100 times, since 300 is a smaller number than 400. So if I draw these groups again here, I'm going to have group 1, group 2, and group 3. So since we have 100 that goes into each group, I'm going to put 100 in each group here. And we've already divided those that 300 evenly. So I'm going to subtract that 300 from the 400. And now we have 100 left that we have to divide by 3. So I already know that 3 is not, since 3 times 100 was 300, I know that we're not going to get another 100 for each of these groups out of that 100. So this time, instead of multiplying by 100, I'm going to multiply by a multiple of 10 and see what is the largest multiple of 10 that will go into 100. 3 the largest multiple of 10 multiplied by 3. So 3 times 10 is equal to 30. 3 times 20 is equal to 60. 3 times 30 is equal to 90, and 3 times 40 is equal to 120. So 120 is too big, so 3 won't go 40 times into 100, but 3 will definitely go 30 times into 100 since 90 is smaller than 100. So I'm going to take that 30 that I've put into each group. I'm going to add 30 to each group here. And I'm going to subtract that 90 from 100, which is going to leave us with 10. So now I only have 10 left that I have to divide into 3 groups. So if I count up by 3, since this is a smaller number, it's much easier to count up now, but 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's 4 times I counted up there. 12 is too big, so it's only going to go in to 10 3 times. So, and actually I'm going to write this as 3 times 3 is equal to 9, and then 10. I'm going to add 3 more to each group here. And then we're left with 1. So depending on where you are at grade level in school, you may be just treating this 1 as your remainder. We could just leave it as a remainder of 1 and not split it up among any of the groups. Or we could divide that 1 by 3 into fractional parts, and it would be 1/3. 1 divided by 3 is equal to 1/3. So it would be 1/3 we would be adding to each group. And then all I have to do to get my answer then is to add all these up together. So 100 plus 30 is 130, 130 plus 3 is 133, and 133 plus 1/3 is 133 1/3. So that will be our answer for 400 divided by 3. So this is some of the thinking that's going to go behind our long division now that we're going to look at. So I'm going to try my best to make use of the space here. But so I'm going to write now 400 divided by 3 in this notation here. So the first thing I'm going to ask myself is how many times does 3 go into 4? And this is analogous to what we were already doing before. We said 3 times 100 is equal to 300. So 3 goes into 400 at least 100 times. So that's what we're doing here. So 3 goes into 400 100 times, and then we're subtracting that 300. But we're only looking at that hundreds place value right now. So I'm just doing 4 minus 3. So now I'm left with 1. And you saw whenever we subtracted the 300 from 400, we had 100 left over. And so now 3 is not going to go into 1, but so I'm going to bring down this 0 here and see how many times does 3 go into 10. And we already know it goes in 3 times. And 10 minus 9, or 10 minus, or 100 minus that 90 that we talked about before, would be equal to 10. And so we're in the tens place here. And I'm going to bring down that last 0. We have 10 left that we have to divide into 3 groups. And again, we know that's going to go in to 10 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9. We subtract that, and we're going to be left over with a remainder of 1. Or if we're working with fractions, we can divide that 1 by 3, and each group will get 1/3 then. So that's all for today. I hope this has helped you get a little bit of a better idea of what we're doing when we do long division and the steps involved in that process, where we're essentially trying to save a lot of time by by getting closer and closer to the answer in these increments of, you know, powers of 10, 100, 10, 1. So to see more math lessons in 5 minutes or less, subscribe to our channel and have a good day.